Teddy time came early last night. After just one series for Vikings quarterback Matt Castle, the Vikings had seen enough. The Flyers looked like they could make it all the way to the Final Four, but that road ran through Memphis, where the Florida Gators were waiting, chomping at the bit to take down the underdog. Well, if you remember back in 2002, we were in this exact same position. Syracuse was #1, undefeated, facing off with Notre Dame. Now we'll take you back to the Hill, where another Orange standout has declared for the NBA draft, the AFC title game, or if you prefer, Manning versus Brady. From now on, they have to protect themselves from injury. It does use a spirit of competition beyond the fun and games to help make a difference in children's lives. If you're not at the Minnesota Vikings training camp, the team is bringing the players to you.
Whatever my eyesight sees, you get to really be a part of.
And they're using Google Glass.
A little outside, but I think I got.
You may have seen Anthony Barr in these during his first pitch for the Minnesota Twins.
A little video of that right there? Yeah, a little Google Glass action, yeah.
Because the Vikings see a marketing opportunity.
As a team, we're not going to be in like the news-breaking business and things like that, but one thing we can do is give inside access, things that nobody else can get.
I wasn't born last night.
Things like a day in the life of Cordero Patterson.
It's something different, man. You know, I feel like I get to see what people are doing. You know, I just feel like I read into their brains, you know.
But what if NFL teams could use Glass for training?
You know, if a quarterback would wear them and you can kind of see his reads and view his progressions, things like that, I think that's probably like the first step or the lowest hanging fruit in terms of, you know, kind of using them from a football sense.
Of course, it would need to be redesigned.
I know we probably won't wear it in the real game because we tackle and get hit, you know, the things going against my lens and my eyeballs and pull something out, so we can't do all that.
But it could bring a new perspective to player evaluation.
We'll find, you know, whether it's the combine, the draft, we'll find ways to use them and see what other teams are doing.
What up, babe? What up? What up? Come on.
Until then,
Y'all, come on. Make sure I see y'all for your ass all these questions I have y'all now.
Patterson will continue turning the tables during press conferences. Norman Seawright, KARE 11 Sports.
Great, man. I feel like I'm in the top-notch state.
Spectators packed the stands in Mankato for the Vikings training camp because this time, the players are suiting up.
To me, it's the same thing, but now it's going to get real because, like I said, it's going to be more noise and it's just the hoorah. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. I can't wait to go.
Right there, stand up.
Between excited crowds and clashing pads, it sounds like football season is finally here.
It's always exciting to get the pads on, and that's when you really get to see what type of players you have.
And every player is fighting for his spot on the roster. Full contact practice means the Vikings are now free to run, pass, and hit as hard as they want to. It also means that from now on, they have to protect themselves from injury. You may watch football for the big hits, but there won't be any at training camp.
We try to protect each other, so there's no hit of the day or anything. Nobody's out there trying to really do that.
For example, a defensive player will let up just before making a tackle.
It's important that we take care of each other. We don't want to be on the ground. We don't want to be taking cheap shots at our football team.
Because every player's goal is the active roster and avoiding the injured reserve list.
After doing this for 8 years, you also realize that this is probably the last day you'll feel healthy, so that's always fun.
So the Vikings will save those big hits for the first preseason game with the visiting Oakland Raiders. From Mankato, Norman Seawright, KARE 11 Sports. For the World Cup match between Ghana and the United States, Small Plates was packed because of the American Outlaws.
There's nothing better than coming down to the bar like this with a bunch of your friends and just rooting the same thing together.
And that's the point of the organization.
The motto of the Outlaws is Unite and Strengthen. Basically bring the U.S. soccer community together, find like-minded people.
But in Syracuse, a city famous for college basketball,
A lot of the staff said to me, they're like, I didn't realize that soccer was so big. I'm like, well, it is that big everywhere but the U.S.
the Outlaws modeled themselves after soccer fans in the rest of the world, right down to the celebrations.
So they wanted to take something similar and make it uniquely American.
It may look like a European pub at game time, but the American Outlaws are an example of soccer's rising popularity in the United States.
Part of that popularity comes from youth soccer.
I was kind of surprised by how much of a youth soccer environment there is around here.
And more soccer players means more soccer fans.
To go from not being able to find soccer anywhere to having everything covered it's utterly amazing.
And for these fans, soccer is life.
My boss wanted me to stick around a little bit, and I had to tell him today. I said, listen, I'm sorry.
That means bonding with perfect strangers.
When we went up 2-1, I hugged a bunch of people I never saw before. I think a girl kissed me, so overall good day.
And helping others enjoy the world's most popular sport.